There was nothing between my two ears, only drink. So when I was 18 then I left Dublin, I went to Manchester, started working on building sites and got into the swing of things, and at that time when you were on your own, you're only young, full of bounce and everything, and started drinking big time then, you know. That lasted for the next 28 years. Maybe more, yeah, 28 years I think. It's like when you gets a hold of you, it's like being in a prison and you're locked into it, this drinking crack. For 6 years I was up the north of England, and then I left there. I came back to Mullingar 1968, worked here in the pub then for another 12 months, went back to England again, carried on the same as usual, and that brought me up to 1972. I came back to Mullingar again, worked for a few months, and went back to England at the end of 1972 to London. And I got stuck in London then for the next 20 years. It was just non-stop party, party, party. One night I decided I was going to stop drinking, and I started to hear these voices. This wasn't anything going on in my head. I heard these voices with my ears, loud and clear. It was the voices of two guys I knew. These guys were going to fill me in. I decided I was going out, so I went out, and I could hear the voices moving away from me as I went. I finished up at Liverpool Street Station at 6 o'clock in the morning, and these voices telling me it would be better if I went under a tube. And I heard the tube. It was coming up the tunnel at the time, and I was going to throw myself under the tube. But the only way I could explain it at the time, what happened to me was, and that's what I used to say, whatever it was that was within me, it caused me to get down on my knees and cry out to God, which I did, from the bottom of my heart at the top of my voice. And like that, next thing is there was 6 cops standing around me. So when that train pulled into the station, I finished up. I got on the train. I didn't go under it. Anyway, I realised, I know now what it was that caused me to cry out to God, and that's the measure of faith that was within me that He gives to every human being. I carried on the same as usual. I was drinking 24/7, 7 days a week. I thought, I'll have to get a kip. I can't, I was being flat out for a full solid week. Every time you woke up there was a drink in your hand, going to sleep. I just wanted to have a good kip. So I went up to the Wellington Hospital where I'd been with my heads, and I signed myself in. And when I got up on Sunday, I was as right as rain. I was ready to go. And I headed for the door. The man said, "Where are you going?" "Can't get out till tomorrow morning." I nearly went ballistic. This doctor came out. He came in with a file under his arm. And he said to me, he said, "Mr. Casey," he said, "you're in here under false pretenses. There's nothing whatsoever wrong with you mentally. But I'll tell you what is wrong with you," he said. "You had a medical on Friday night. You have an enlarged liver. And if you keep drinking the way you're drinking, in 6 months' time, you're going to have cirrhosis. And 6 months after that, you'll be dead," he said. I said, "Okay." "Right," I said, "I want to go for a walk." He said, "You can go for a walk." He said, "Any alcohol, you're gone." I just walked out the door. I went off to the off license, got a car, go drink, ran around the corner, sat down and drank it. So I came back to Mullingar in March, carried on the same as usual. January 1991, decided to up sticks and head again back to London for more drink. So on the way, I decided I called to see my sister up in Newbridge. I landed in Newbridge anyway, and when I got to Newbridge, my sister said to me, and I looked at her, and she said, "Sean, do you mind if I get somebody to pray with you?" So she arranged it anyway, and so I was to meet them at 3 o'clock. So I went up to the house at 3 o'clock, and I met this man and this lady. This guy, he told me afterwards, all right, that he had a whole load of scriptures that he had taken out of the Bible concerning what God had to say about drink. But he took one look at me, and he knew when he saw me he'd only be wasting his time. He asked me 2 questions. He said, "Do you believe in God?" I said, "I do," which I always did. "Do you believe God can heal you?" So I said, "I do," because my concept of God was I believed that God could do whatever he liked. And while I was sitting in the chair in my sister's kitchen, these 2 people were praying over me. This craving that I had in here for drink went out the window. That was exactly 12 months after I was told in the Whittington Hospital that I'd be dead. And in January 1992, Jesus came into my life. I've been all around the world since, and not once in the last 27 years has the thought of having a drink entered my head. That is some miracle. For the first time, I picked up a Bible in my life, and I read my life story. Yeah, I've been going around in the desert, in the wilderness, for 40 years. The reality is, and which is very simple, it doesn't matter whether you're living in a penthouse or whether you're living on the side of the road. It doesn't matter who you are or what you are. You need Jesus.